Okay. Call to order the September 24th, 2024 meeting of the North Andover Planning Board. Jean, could you please call roll?
Sean Kevlin.
Here.
John Simons.
Here.
Eitan Goberg.
I'm here.
Peter Boynton.
Aye.
Chris Source.
Here.
Okay, so continued public hearing, 335 Salem Street, JCE Property Development LLC. Request continuance until October 15th, 2024. That'll be allowed. They have gone before the ZBA with a renewed application that was heard and continued until October 7th, 8th. So they'll be back there. If they wrap up, then they can come here. If they don't wrap up, then we'll have to continue that again. 1250 Osgood Street, request to continue until October 15th, 2024. That'll be allowed and continued. Gray Pond Road, request to continue until October 1st. That will be continued until October 1st. That leaves us with two items we'll do them, which we're going to do together. 1101 Turnpike Street, discussion item. Request for waiver of site plan review in accordance with 195 8.11D to allow for construction of a pole barn, accessory structure at National Grid's Electric Operations Center. A pole barn is a three-sided roof structure, and the purpose is weather protection for electric service bucket trucks. And we're going to hear that along with 1101 Turnpike Street, Metro West Realty LLC, continued public hearing, application for a land disturbance permit in connection with proposed construction of parking lot expansion, the Merrimack Valley Operation and Maintenance Facility. All right, let's do those two together. Jean, why don't you tell us what we're doing today?
Which one would you like to start with, the waiver request?
Yes, please.
Okay, so, so the proposed location is the westerly property line, right on the border. It's on an existing paved area where bucket trucks currently park when not in service calls. There would be no change in use or operation at the site resulting from the pole barn once constructed. Utility service vehicles would continue to circulate around the site in the same manner and park in the same location. There should not be any impact to within the site and in relation to adjacent properties, streets, pedestrians, vehicle traffic, public services, or community needs. The proposed location is approximately 700 feet from Route 114 and not visible from the roadway.
Jean, can you tell us how this came up to be with us today?
So they're fully permitted through conservation for the stormwater piece of it because it's within riverfront. So they did file with conservation. They subsequently filed for a rear setback variance with the ZBA. And because I'm copied on denial letters, which starts the ZBA process, the building commissioner denies a building permit in order for them to apply to the ZBA. Once I received a copy of that, I questioned with the building commissioner whether this would be considered gross floor area where it's only three-sided, it's not a four-sided structure. His response was that it was, and it's just over 3,000 square feet, 3,060. So as you know, construction of a new structure over 2,000 square feet of gross floor area requires site plan review or a waiver of site plan review.
So, and this is an area where these bucket trucks currently park, is that right?
So that was the first photograph. You can see the building there along this chain link fence. Bucket trucks parked there today. They're going to put a structure to house them, essentially.
Are we having two of them or just one? I'm
Just one of
confused.
them, this white,
Oh, just that?
Yeah.
So the other thing's already there?
it's there, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this is the internal parking lot. So you've been looking, I'm trying to find a picture where.
So is it?
So this front lawn is the proposed parking lot that's been behind you.
Mhm.
And then the internal parking lot, and this is where the pole barn is proposed.
Seems like it's basically a carport, but it
Yeah, I
has,
was gonna say, it's, other than the fact that
It has
it's,
got a back
at one
wall.
end is what you
Yeah.
have at the, yeah, look, I was down in Texas
Yeah.
last week, and they
Yeah.
had, every parking lot had that, anything that was outside had those things at the
Right.
tops, yeah, yeah.
says a
Yeah.
carport, but it becomes a structure because it's got a back wall instead of leaving that back
It
wall
becomes,
open.
it's certainly a structure, but whether it contains gross floor area is what I questioned, and
Yeah.
like I said, the
Yeah.
response was that it does, and so I'm just really housekeeping, bringing it to you. We asked for distances to the nearest residential home, which you can see is way back here. It's 280 feet or so to the backyard. There's a mature tree buffer of 135 feet wide, and this is Empire Drive over here, the side house, which is 100 feet
Mhm.
off of the wooded buffer. And so, as you can see, there's no change to circulation, there's nothing that, the trucks drive there today, they're just gonna park in the garage.
Okay, that seems like a appropriate waiver of site plan review. Can we get a motion to approve the waiver of site plan review for the pole barn?
So
For
moved.
the reasons enumerated, if you could just write that down.
Yeah, it meets the criteria, that we're finding that it meets the criteria, that there'll be no change in use, no added change in circulation, no added parking, no
Pedestrian.
pedestrians, no obstruction, no impact on the neighbors, of really putting what's basically a carport.
Yeah, already decision.
Okay.
Second?
John,
So-
you motion, Sean second?
No, I'm
Sean
motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so that's approved. All right,
Thank you. Glad I don't get paid by the word.
all right, we're still, we're not done yet. Well, we're not done with the public hearing unless you guys are switching.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Very convincing. 1101 Turnpike Street, Metro West Realty LLC, application for land disturbance permit. Okay, Gene, where did we leave off and what has happened since then?
Alright, so based on concerns raised at the September 10th planning board meeting, the applicant has revised sheet 401. Sorry, hold on one second. Which is the grading, drainage and utility plan to add a 2 to 3 foot berm between Turnpike Street and the new parking area, and revise the planting plan to add an additional 9 eastern red cedar trees and 6 additional white spruce, to improve the landscape screening of the site improvements. The one thing that has kind of been carried open, I've mentioned it the last couple of weeks, is the stormwater review is complete. There's been a draft prepared for tonight's meeting. It does condition additional test pits in the basin. The peer reviewer also suggested that the board discuss with the applicant the proposed method for removal of ledge if large areas require removal to install the gravel wetland. So the area is known to have some ledge. It's just, we really haven't dealt with that in any project yet, but she sees potential that they could hit ledge. So,
Okay.
so I don't know how far I can zoom in here, but you can see the berm, the topography change along the front.
So is this plan now incorporated into what would be our decision
Yes.
based on this plan? Okay.
This is the heightened berm
Mhm.
plus the additional planting.
Correct.
And what would be the response to the question about ledge, about what would be done if ledges are covered?
If there is ledge encountered, we would need to remove it. If it couldn't be removed by mechanical means and we had to do blasting, we would have to go through the processes set forth by the town for blasting, but we don't anticipate needing to blast for it.
So what kind of condition can we put, Gene, just to cover ourselves there?
Just meet existing practices pertinent to ledge removal. So, Code and building commissioner approval.
So is there approval required for blasting for ledge?
There is, I don't know the specific code, but there is, I think they have to notify immediate abutters with written notice ahead of it. We talked about it with the Avalon development, they didn't incur it, but we did talk about potential there.
Okay. Okay, so if we could include a condition
Okay.
requiring.
Okay, so it's hard to see, but the outer edge of this limit of grading is elevation 222. It grows by about a foot all the way up to 228 and 229, and these 2 interior pockets are at 330, so on either side.
Okay. Any board questions or comments?
I guess the only thing is, I'm very pleased that we made the changes to improve the screening and so forth. Do we want to put some soft look-back provision in the agreement that in case?
So number 18 in that draft, condition 18,
I skimmed it, I didn't
is
find
how I worded it. I mean, to be honest, I think they went really above what was asked in terms of adding the
Yeah,
additional
that's fine,
screening.
that's fine, that's fine.
Okay. Any public comment that came in via the email?
No.
Any members of the public wish to make public comment? I see none, okay. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any requested changes to, so we are gonna add a condition, that if ledge is, found, and needed to be removed as part of the project, that all state, local, and federal guidelines will be followed for removal of ledge.
Yep.
And best practices. Okay,
There's two number 36s, Gene. Oh, but there's no 39, so you can make that up.
That's good.
That was like this week when I was at the hotel, I was on the 13th floor. I said,
Oh, man.
I was taking things of, very dangerous living.
okay, anybody else have any comments for the decision? Okay, we're getting a motion to approve the the land disturbance permit as amended.
So moved and as amended. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's approved too.
Good job. You listened carefully, I like that. Yeah, so,
We try to reach good consensus.
So that's it. It's like if sometimes it's I wouldn't say a challenge, but sometimes there's work to be done at the beginning.
Yeah.
And if we do all that work, then this end part is very easy.
Yeah.
And that means I think everyone did a good job, so.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I
Appreciate it.
get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from September 10th?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
One reminder for everybody,
Yeah.
hopefully you've seen town news go out, the annual lake cleanup day is scheduled for Saturday, October 5th at 9:30. We usually meet in the Stevens Pond parking lot to get started.
Gene, any
Week from
time-
Saturday.
We'll see how the new harbor master does.
Do we have a new harbor master?
Not that I know of.
It'll be a duck. Do we have any sense, Gene, of when we should anticipate starting to talk about ADUs?
Yes, next meeting.
Next meeting, okay.
Potentially briefly next meeting, but I have scheduled
maybe an
somebody
introduc-
from, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
We,
Okay.
so I've told you, I've attended 2 webinars. There's tons of questions. Over 300 people have attended both webinars. It was put through the American Planning Association Mass Chapter. An attorney from KP Law attended both of those webinars and pretty much did most of the presentation and Q&A. So she's going to actually attend your October 15th meeting. I'm going to send you the link. I've been waiting so that it gets a little closer to the meeting, but I'll send you the link to that webinar. It's only an hour long, but you'll see it's jam-packed full of questions. This will be the first one. They had a follow-up one. The content was the exact same, very redundant in terms of the questions asked. So I'll just send you the first link, and if you could watch that ahead of it, I think it'll be helpful.
It did come up also at the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission meeting that I attended last week. They're not doing anything like official as of this point, but I did talk to Ian Burns, and he said he's kind of collecting FAQs, and so if we have certain questions that have come up, we can send them along, and he's kind of tabulating them and seeing what answers he gets from different communities, and also can kind of look maybe at our bylaw at the end. So they can help kind of on a ad hoc basis.
Yeah, my understanding is the Housing and Livable Community Group that also supported the MBTA communities. They were the ones that provided the guidance and answered all the questions. So they're setting up a website with frequently asked questions. It's probable that they'll issue guidelines, but I don't anticipate them anytime soon. So I think we just have to move ahead, and then hopefully we get them and can result in tweaks to a potential draft. But if I understood correctly, they're going to make a recommendation to the secretary by the end of September. And that's just a recommendation as to whether they think guidelines should be promulgated or not. So it'll take a few more months. The good news is, I'm not sure if I communicated this, but so the law goes into effect February 2nd, I believe. I think that might be a Sunday, so the 3rd. So technically, people can come in with building permits, as of that date. But as long as we advertise our public hearing for a ADU bylaw, that becomes effective once town meeting approves it. And so it would be,
Placeholder for it?
as soon as we advertise,
Yeah.
it's technically in place, assuming it gets approved at town meeting.
Yeah,
So that if any building permits are issued in the interim,
right.
and then that passes, the building commissioner can go back to them and make them come in compliance with the bylaw. So it's really important, so my target date for advertising now is mid-January. You meet on February 4th, and so once it gets advertised, we open the public hearing February 4th. So you'll have a long time to discuss this between then and making a recommendation.
But we need something pretty solid
Yeah.
before then.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, and I think we'll be in good shape, but it gives us 3 months to work, that's good.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
For lake cleanup,
Yes.
it's very helpful for people to use their boats to get trash on the water line that you can't reach
idea.
from the shoreline.
Okay,
Yep. I have a quick question. Gene, any update on 114 and when they're gonna break ground on that whole project?
No, I think last we heard the advertising date
Oh.
moved from January to April.
Okay,
So once they advertise, and then it's probably another year from then.
okay. But did they do all their right-of-ways and takings for that project?
They're still in the appraisal process.
Okay.
I know for where they
Okay.
do have to take.
I remember, I went to a meeting where they did say they do like a year of electrical work
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
utilities before they even start
Jeez.
any of the roadway work,
Oh,
so. got time.
Yeah.
Okay, get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome.
Nice job.